Tell me about that Loot Goblin shirt you got on.
Well, had an artist, a friend of ours from a while back, make it. Um, a character that I started with really early on in TikTok was the Loot Goblin, a guy in the PMG gas mask would always be in the background of my videos. So I decided I should actually make this. So we have the t-shirts on sale. It says Covey Surplus at the bottom. It's about the
Nice.
only merch we have right now. So,
Got any 3XLs? I might have to pick one up.
yeah, you can order it. We're using a drop shipping. So system in a
Perfect.
different place makes them, ships them out. So I got all the sizes.
Makes them to
technically.
order.
Yeah, but I'll send you one
Awesome.
out.
Yeah,
Have you been
that'd be
having
great. I
fun
love
with
that.
this new podcast system you got going?
Yeah. Well, you know what? This is actually the sort of the second episode of this, what I'm calling the SwissLink Founders series. Just wanted to talk to people that are, movers and shakers in this sort of new era of military surplus, I kind of want to call it, where there's like a whole younger generation of people that are really getting into it and following it. Before that, it seemed like your typical surplus customer was, somebody going into an Army Navy shop looking for old GI stuff, maybe your dad's Vietnam gear that he sold off or something. But over the years, those stores have turned into pawn shops or places to get mining supplies or, buy and sell gold or get a quick loan or something.
They have definitely changed.
There's a whole new world now.
I think it's,
Yeah,
I actually
for
made a meme not too long ago about different eras of surplus. And like, I started with like the 1940s and 50s, talking about somebody from coming back over the war with stuff. And then I talked about the 70s and 80s of brick and mortar. And then I talked about like the 90s and early 2000s. They talked about, the meme was about eBay and buying off of there, winning at auctions. And now how today, even though all of those other items are still part of the industry, the last meme was about modern day, which was talking about different websites and different communities and people on social media and stuff like that. It's interesting to see how about every 20 years or so it changes.
Yeah, I guess the whole world changes every 20 years or so too, right? So, learning about surplus on TikTok, of course, is the whole new thing. Yeah.
I think...
But I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you've been doing. It's awesome. I love seeing it all happen. I love seeing people like yourself.
I've been sweating.
Yeah?
I've been putting in the work. I've been completely reorganizing the entire warehouse we have so I can actually, every week, I want to have a major drop of something that we have in pallets that we haven't sorted, and then have it all set up. And right now I'm trying to get to the point where I can officially hire one or two of my friends to work at least part-time. And actually become a company, because for the last 5 years, it's been me and one of my friends who helps out every once in a while. So it's kind of crazy to think how one person could get a warehouse that has like just shy of 200 pallets, and this is still my side job. I still only do this part-time when I have free time. So like when I hear about AP,
you're making moves.
Yeah, when I hear about my friends who have a bunch of employees or getting their first employee, I know exactly how hard that is, and I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, it's not easy. Sorting through surplus is a hell of a thing to do, and doing that by yourself as a side gig, that's impossible.
And when you end up buying,
especially when you have so much of it that's just sitting there,
so much, and you don't really know all of what you have, you get a pallet that just says assorted dress coats, and there's like 15 different countries in there, and it's just like, it's hard. It's fun.
I feel you. It's nice
great
to talk to somebody else who knows what that pain is like.
And it's like, oh, I know like how to tell the difference of all these countries, but this country I've never heard of or seen before, so I don't know what it is by looking at it, and there's no tags. So
yeah, you've got to do a lot of research in the middle of it all, and of course there'll be different variations of everything in different conditions and different sizes,
and then repros on top
of one box of 200. Right, you got to sort those out.
One thing that I've kind of learned,
I think we got a bit of a lag here. Might make it a little bit.
Yeah, we do have quite a bit of a lag, but one thing that I have learned is it's not really about knowing everything; it's about knowing who to contact when you need to know something. Like, I have friends on social media who, if I need to know about I think I have something Belgium, I'll message them, say, hey, is this Belgium? And they're like, oh, no, that's not Belgium, that's this country. And then I go talk to that person. It's not really about knowing everything, because as a storefront, when you're trying to run business and personal life and family and friends and social media and getting the packages out and everything, it's a little difficult to know every single detail that autistic people on the internet will know. So I just found that it's really just best to know the right people
Yeah.
when it comes to it.
Yeah, know somebody that you can ask those questions to. Because, I mean, surplus is like just one word, but it's extraordinarily broad. You know, you could know everything from every military across history and every single piece of item that they've ever had. I mean, that's too much for one person for sure.
It is.
But, God bless the internet.
Yeah, and sometimes the internet makes it more difficult, I found. Just rabbit holes, information, not what you're looking for. But anyway, I have a question for you, something that I never
And you've
quite
got to
got
know
the
what
information.
stuff.
I know about the
Yeah.
fire that happened with you guys' warehouse years ago. Did you guys really have almost all of these Swedish pants in the world and lose them in the fire? What was going on there?
Yeah, the Finnish pants, the Finnish wool pants
Finnish.
and
Okay.
jackets.
Hey, Finnish. I got my Finnish
We
submachine gun right
actually bought
here.
up.
Sorry, I know.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we bought up like all the remaining stock that we could get our hands on, basically. And as far as we know, it's the last of what was available. And that was delivered to us like just a couple of weeks before the fire. It was something like 14,000 pairs of pants gone.
And that's not
Which,
even on you guys' fault. That's just nature.
it's just the way it is. Yeah, that whole thing was really brutal. I mean, it wasn't just our warehouse that burnt down. It was the entire town, my home, my dad's home, most of the employees' homes, like everything. It was wild. So everybody around here at least is like, oh yeah, we know, we've been through the same thing, because the whole community up here is like still dealing with the after effects of that. But we've since made a reproduction of those pants.
That's what I thought.
And
I
I'm
thought
really
you guys
proud of those.
were making those, which is, I mean, kind of have to after you accidentally. But I do need to get
right?
one.
It's the
I want
least
to
we could do.
build. One of my one of my favorite things about my job is content creation. It's really what I like to do the most, and I like making videos, and I want to do more long form content. So I actually need to talk to you guys about getting a Finnish Winter War set so I can make a video on this gun on YouTube's and other platforms.
Yeah, we'll see what we can dig up for you. That'd be sweet.
I think that'd be cool. But
how did you? I'd like to hear about like how you got into this in the first place.
this is about to be a story.
Just a collector of the stuff, and you thought, "What can I sell some?"
So, I was in high school, and I started really getting into firearms because of internet influencers like Brandon Herrera and Forgotten Weapons exclusively. Those two guys really got me kind of the tick, the real big tick. After high school, I was going to high school to be a pastor or a teacher, and I decided at the end I didn't feel the calling for that. So I came home, went back to work on the family business that I've been doing since I was 5, fixing garage doors, right? And I was thinking I want to create my own gunsmithing company because I love fixing firearms. I'm mechanically inclined. I love that stuff. And so I started buying and selling AK parts because I wanted to help bankroll the gunsmith company because it's expensive and I'm a poor high school student, like after high school student. And then immediately after, I noticed surplus and was starting to see the prices and the profit margins and the reselling ability, and started buying and reselling that instead of AK parts, which is a much lower profit margin and very, very much harder to get than surplus. And then it just kind of kept spiraling from there. Eventually, I pretty quickly I decided to go ahead and create a company in 2019. It's when we were founded. But then like the first 2 years, I was like doing maybe $100 a year on eBay. It really wasn't a business technically. I was just focusing on a lot of personal stuff. And then I really like, people always say, oh, you're autistic in a nice way about like military and firearms. And honestly, for me, I'm autistic about business. So I really started to figure out the numbers and the places to find things, and I found wholesalers like you guys, and I started connecting with the community, figured out a lot more about the social media, got to know everybody, and that was in like 2021 and 22 when it was really starting to pop off. So like me and Krusjiki, we were both founded in 2019, but everything really blew up in like 2021, 2022, around that time. And then eventually I did go full time once. I went full time for about 2 to 3 months, and it was working. But then bills skyrocketed, and my ex-wife at the time had lost a job and got laid off, so I had to quit doing it. And one of these days, I want to go back full time into it, but I gotta pay the bills. So,
Right. And how is it that you ended up with a warehouse with 200 pallets worth of surplus? Where did that
so,
come from?
so there's another company that I'm really good friends with. They're based out of Canada, Misty Mountain Supply. Um, he had messaged me once and saying, "Hey, I found this auction website where they're selling pallet of surplus. I bought like a couple pallets of them. They shipped it in, really good. It's like Illinois. It's like 300 miles from you because I'm based out of Missouri. And I was looking at the stuff, and I was just looked at Misty over the phone. I was just like, why don't we buy all of it? Like they have hundreds of pallets. Why don't we go there, see what they got? So I took a trip up there after contacting the owners. Ended up the entire warehouse there is the remaining inventory of a big surplus company that was down in Texas that closed, I think, 16 years ago. Uh, Colonel Bubby's. Colonel Bubby's out of Galveston, Texas. When he had died, his wife sold it all to this liquidation company, and they had been like slowly selling it. And so I went there, talked with them, bought some stuff for myself, came back. Me and Misty made a plan. He flew down from Canada, and we spent like a week going through the warehouse. We couldn't buy everything because we're small guys, but we bought a large portion of it and then brokered a couple of the deals out, a bunch of stuff like that, and ended up shipped it all to my warehouse here. Shipped a bunch to Misty. I'm still shipping stuff to him back and forth because he still owns a large portion of this. We actually opened a wholesale company for a little while. We had just like my retail website, but ended up finding that I work best when I'm talking to companies specifically. Like, hey, somebody's like, hey, we're looking for this. Do you maybe have that? Or I call up somebody like, I know you like Belgian stuff. I just opened up a pallet of gas mask bags from Belgium, etc., like that. So I ended up closing the wholesale website down, and I just kind of worked the books. So that's how that crazy story happened last year. I
Yeah,
did. So
that's cool, man. Opportunities like that don't come up all the time, so it's good
no,
to
they do
take
not.
advantage of them. Like,
But really, the opportunities mostly happen when you treat people the way that you're supposed to. So that's
right.
kind of
Yeah, opportunities come from
is
relationships.
one of my business tricks that I like to give a lot of new stores starting up is treat your business like you would treat your own morality. So it's one of my big shticks. So
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to be. So it sounds like you've got your work cut out for you for a long time with all that stuff. That'll keep you
it's
busy for a
it's
while.
probably a couple of years worth of stuff, but it's at least allowing me to focus on other things I want to expand, like employees, uh, online video content, and not just surplus related. I have 3 whole series of new YouTube videos in the works, and once I start popping those out, it's going to be more consistent, and it'll be fun. It's a
Nice. What are
job
those?
worth something.
What are those other YouTube series going to be about? If you can, talk about it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I actually did a questionnaire recently asking people what video they wanted to see first. So I like firearm content. I love taking firearms and doing something goofy with them, doing a video on that, having cool intros. My next one is going to be on a Chinese Tokarev 9mm, so basic. But I'm not going to spoil anything. But I'm going to do character with it, and it's going to be funny. So that's one video. The next video I'm going to do is going to be an informational video talking about how in the 1950s, the Soviet Union bullied East Germany into being more German, which is weird because all the other countries, they wouldn't let them really be their own nationality. They kind of had to be Soviet, except for Germany, which is why East German uniforms are very Germanic in looks because of literally somebody at the Warsaw Pact bullied somebody else saying they're not German enough, and now that's what created all the East German uniform codes.
Interesting. Well, I definitely look forward to that one. That sounds like a cool story for sure.
And the
Yeah, a lot of
last,
cool stuff came out.
yeah, there's two other series. One I'm just going to be looking at surplus in movies, and another one I'm going to be doing museum dives where I go into museums. I take a piece that they have and I talk about it, or collections, either firearms or military or stuff, because I love museums. I love them. So there's all those different videos.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy the most, is the people I talk with and work with, and then the videos that I get to make and create. So hopefully the surplus keeps going a little bit, grows a little bit more, so I can hire a hand to help with the heavy lifting, and then I can focus more on the content creation.
Yeah, well, it'd definitely be some big help for you to get somebody helping out with sorting stuff out and going through it, because that'd just eat up all of your time, when you could be making videos and getting stuff posted online and doing all the fun business part of things, right?
So
Right
I
on.
have a question.
Well,
What's
I've been loving following all your stuff on TikTok and stuff too.
Yeah, I've found using all platforms helps. Like there's certain videos I can't post on TikTok that I post on Twitter or Instagram and etc. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the community that has been created around this industry. But
Yeah,
so
for sure. Me too.
what's
What
your
was your
plan
question?
with what's your plan with this podcast? Like I saw the video with Logan last week. Interesting, but I was like, what's the baseline plan? Just talk to people in the community,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so interesting to me that there are so many sort of new companies popping up with people that are really like reviving the military surplus industry with like a younger audience and getting younger people involved into it. So it's really just my own personal interest of like wanting to hear everybody's story and like, how they got into the business and, why they like military surplus and why they decided to dive into it and, how they've managed to get so much attention from, I think a lot of this this new interest in military surplus is due in part to folks like yourself and Kritiki and like the Commando Store guys and Americana Pipe Dream. Like it's just, I mean, I grew up with my dad running like a military surplus business, importing European surplus, and I've seen it my whole life. And that entire time it's just been, old guys, maybe hunters or survivalists or something that are into it. And this new generation of people that are really digging into the stuff and know so much more about it than even I do is like kind of mind blowing to me. So I just wanted to investigate that some more. And
I have a very
also
big
let people
theory
know
of
like,
why.
hey, there's a whole world out here where you can. Yeah, I'd love to hear
I
it.
have a theory. So, early 2000s, 2008, 2009, YouTube starts popping off. Everybody was on YouTube watching videos. Then after like 2010, other stuff, some social media sites like Twitter was popping off. That's where Commando Store really got their bit, from what I understand looking back, was early Twitter. And then the gun influencers, I think they're the biggest in part. I think their consistency of making firearms in history, from Forgotten Weapons to Brandon Herrera to Demolition Ranch and a lot of other guys, I think that a lot of young people, especially my age, was watching them on YouTube. And we were young enough where we couldn't buy guns. So instead of buying guns, we started buying surplus. And we started appreciating that history, and then the community that's happened now. We're so close hand in hand with that other gun influence community, and it's inspiring to me. See the way that they have worked with each other's channels and collabed, and that's kind of what I put forth when I'm working with other companies and trying to be friendly instead of competitive. Because in the end, we all kind of do better working together, and we all have friends that understand a lot more about living this life than in the past. But I think it's all kind of just stems from the gun influencing community on social medias.
Yeah, that makes sense. People that are kind of your age growing up in that time, not being able to buy guns, but can get all this adjacent military history. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the internet has been around, but social media is relatively new. And so it makes sense that, and all those like Army, Navy, pop, mom and pop Army, Navy stores, brick and mortar stores that you see, they're not necessarily on Instagram or YouTube making content. And maybe they should be. They should get online and do some more of that.
There's
But
some that
yeah,
do it and they're good.
There's no reason not to be, friendly. Like you said, we're all in this together. I mean, just to hear you saying, "Oh, I opened a box of it just says mixed Romanian parkas or whatever," and then you open it up and you've got 50 different types of jackets in there. Not many people in the world understand that pain, so it's just nice to talk to somebody else who's
exactly
been there before.
I can't tell you how many times I'll call up Logan from AP and be like, "Dude, you got to hear this." Just to rant a talk with him about it because he gets it. That's what I love. For me, it's not about money; it's about people. And in all honesty, it's about people and history. So
yeah, well, the history part of it is there's like a million endless rabbit holes, and you could absorb several lifetimes just trying to learn all of it.
Yeah, I get it. Anything cool coming to SwissLink?
Yeah, we've got a potential other collaboration coming up. I guess I can't really talk about it, but you'll see that.
I'll keep an eye out.
We've got tons and tons and tons of surplus coming, as we always do. We're about to put up, I think Jake's sitting here with me. It was 150 different items. 56 different items on our last.
Anything East German or Soviet?
That, of course, is if there is, I'll let you know first. So we got a lot of surplus coming up. We got some new blanket designs coming in here pretty soon. So that'll be fun.
You know what I thought was really
have been working really well for us.
You know what I thought was really cool? I went into a random brick and mortar surplus store in some big city here in Missouri the other day. And as I was looking through all the overpriced surplus and all of this Rothco stuff, you know what I found? I found a whole section of SwissLink blankets. I thought that was fucking cool.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's
it was like,
that's
I know those guys.
Yeah, we're trying, everybody. That's awesome. Yeah, we get those blankets into a lot of places. We do the military surplus, obviously. We also sell the Wavian fuel cans. That's sort of our brand here. And the blankets work well with the surplus customers, and they also work well with the fuel can customers because people that are overlanding, off-roading, they're doing a lot of outdoor stuff, and the blankets work, perfectly. So they kind of fit. And then, just gift stores or anywhere like, sporting goods stores, they all love the blankets because I like to say they're 90% of the quality of a Pendleton, but at 20% of the price.
Yeah, those.
So they're really good, beautiful blankets, but at an actual, realistic price where, you can afford to buy one because the pricing is fair, but they're still great blankets. So,
and not to mention the storm bags. I actually bought some of these in wholesale and resold them, and I kept half a box for myself. Love those. I always love those storm bags.
Yeah. I can't believe that we ended up on Shark Tank with those things. That was hell of an experience.
Yeah, that's
pretty much thanks to TikTok, right? Yeah, you never know what's gonna. So I got to do more social media. I'm trying. I hired a couple folks here to help me out with that stuff too. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of a SwissLink in your feeds, hopefully soon.
I've been loving the videos you guys have been making. The quality is really good, and I've also been noticing we use the exact same microphones. So I love it.
Yeah, it's a popular one for sure. After we got these, I started to notice them on YouTube videos and stuff. It's damn, everybody uses that microphone. Must be a good one.
Well, you got any other questions you want to know?
I don't want to take up too much more of your day. But no, I really appreciate your time. This has been fun. We should definitely do this again sometime.
Of course.
And I'll see if I can dig up any East German containers for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks. That's what I'm very artistic about. So I love that. But one of these days, maybe I'll come out to California and we can host an episode of my own podcast with you guys.
I'd love that. One of our sales guys, Matthew's really into guns, and my dad's got a bunch of acreage out where he lives, so we'll go out and do some shooting too while you're here. That'd be fun.
I've heard about Matthew. I think he's a pretty big follower of mine, if I remember. Maybe I don't know. Anyway.
Very good.
But thanks. I enjoyed being on here. I hope to see who's on next.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the rest of them. And thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.